Sarah, can I ask you about risk mitigation strategies? That's an area in which you have advised many companies all over the continent and beyond. What are your thoughts on that?
I look at it from a strategic perspective that to understand and mitigate risk in any, particularly for new markets or new entrants to the market, you've got to have a very holistic view of what those specific risks are. And again, talking about a continent of 54 countries, this is going to be very different in different jurisdictions. I think you have to look at it first by the fact the increased activity in M&A and investment transactions really underscored the need for better, really robust pre and post investment risk mitigation strategies. And indeed, as competition for growth and strategic assets in Africa increased, particularly in the energy and extractors and tech sectors, as this heats up, so do some of the risks, including corruption risk, and the opportunities for really understanding who your partners are heats up. So I always advise that you need to do very good due diligence, but due diligence on the ground, understanding who your partners are, who are the JV partners, what kind of relationship do they have with the government? Because what you don't want to have is an increased risk of enforcement activity, which of course the DOJ and the SEC are looking internationally, transnationally across all sectors. So I think that having really good, robust due diligence is a key. Cultural understanding of the context in which deals are done is very important, and the importance of having local trusted partners who you've worked with closely. There's a whole host of things you've got to think about, but I think most importantly is due diligence for that. And also, the more you understand risk in a new market like this, gives you competitive edge. I do not see mitigation risk strategies as a defensive activity. It's an activity to give you a better understanding about how to do business in that jurisdiction, and therefore gives you the competitive edge.
I think sometimes people need to just consider what it's like in their own home regions. If you're from Europe, Western Europe, and you're looking at expansion across Eastern Europe, what are the sort of questions you would ask yourself? It's different to go into Germany than it is to go into Kyrgyzstan. What are the things you would worry about in Kyrgyzstan? What would you do? You would inform yourself. You would probably go over there. You'd speak to somebody local who understands the scenario. You'd do your homework and you would react accordingly. It's no different. Same as Latin America. Same as a deal in Nebraska versus New York State. So I think sometimes people lose this common sense and they get very flabbergasted by the fact that it's quote unquote Africa. And a lot of very sensible things go out of the door, which is why it's so important to work with people like Sarah, I think, that know sort of how to meet you where you are and then bring you along that journey and make sure that you don't forget things that you would do in your home country.